Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello, welcome back to Combat Sports UK. My name is Ben Thomas, and today I'm joined by Jeremy Kennedy, who returns to the cage at Bellator 286 as he collides with Aaron Pico. First of all, most important question of the day. How are you doing? How are you feeling? How's life treating you at the moment?
I'm good, man. I'm hungry. That's about it. Short time till weigh-ins. I feel good. Weight's good, and just ready to go, man.
That's what we love to hear. And to be honest, I'm not surprised you're hungry because it is your first time back in the cage for almost a year. Obviously, You had a bout cancelled with this Saturday's opponent back in April. But how are you feeling ahead of your heavily anticipated return? Any nerves, or are you just hungry to get back in there?
Just hungry to get back in there, man. I just want to see my my improvements. I spent a long time in the gym all year, and grinding too. So I went through a full camp, didn't get to display my work. So you get to really show your improvements in the cage, and I haven't been able to do that yet. So I'm excited, eager, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
I was about to mention that actually, because you had that injury back in April, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the week leading into fight week, wasn't it?
There, man. It was 10 days. So we were it was a full camp. We were dialed in, weight was ready. Camp was pretty well done. It was my last sparring session. So it was honestly the last point of where an injury would have happened, and it did, so unfortunate, but it happens in this game. It hadn't happened to me for 30 MMA fights, so I couldn't be too upset with myself. It was out of my control. There's nothing I could do now.
How heartbreaking was it though? Because it's obviously the week before you're about to step into the cage. You've clearly spent a lot of time and money on that. That must have hurt.
Man, that's the thing, is the money, the financials, people don't really realize. You spend an entire camp investing in recovery and training and all that, my diet, nutrition, and it was all the way at the end. So all the money had been spent. Flights were booked, hotels were booked, everything. We were ready to go, and I didn't get paid. You didn't get to do the job. So I did all the work, and then I didn't do the walk. So I didn't. It's been a little bit of a struggle, just financial wise, but I'm in a good spot, and we're good to go now. Made it through, and here we are. We just picked up on the same camp, same opponent. And then the coaches, everyone's on the same page already. We already did a full camp for this guy. So we just picked up where we left off, and we had tons of notice. So I'm more than ready this time around.
Touch wood, the injuries stay off for the next week, and you do get to fight night. And
yeah,
we will get onto Bellator 286 in a moment, but let's talk about your last victory last time out. It was an emphatic mauling against Emmanuel Sanchez. In a way, were you surprised that it wasn't stopped? You were raining down some heavy blows.
Yeah, he's durable though, man. He's a guy that's very, very hard to put away. So it's understandable. That's just my game. I try to break these guys, and sometimes it doesn't. I don't get the finish, but I get the mauling. The 30-27s, and I'm hoping I can get a finish this time around. I think Pico kind of brings that style of fight. He's very aggressive, and kill or be killed, and I'm ready to do just that.
Last time out, how did it feel to actually return back to the win column? Because you had just come off a loss. It must have been a special feeling to get that win back on your record and just get back to flying ways. Yeah,
big thing was just being the underdog for that fight kind of irritated me. The Borks fight went how it went. I could have done a lot of things differently, and it was still a very close competitive fight, and I just knew that wasn't the true me. And then I think a lot of people ripped me off after that, and I think I was like a 2-1 underdog against Sanchez, who's somebody I've always thought I matched up really well against. But having a lot of people doubting me, even the media and everyone thought, he was going to be too much for me and whatnot. And so that was kind of a nice thing to get in there, do what I did, and prove what I've done. And, exactly, just been able to do exactly what I thought I would do.
Well, there we are. Now we are on to Bellator 286. You do return, and you are fighting Aaron Pico, who is 10-3 as a professional and has been under the Bellator banner since 2017. So, like yourself, he's pretty much a veteran in the promotion. Despite making a rocky start to his Bellator career, he has turned it around and strung together 6 straight victories. What do you make of your opponent as we head into fight night?
He's definitely one of the toughest challenges. You know, stylistically, he's a dangerous everywhere, and he's a very dangerous opponent. And more so, I respect his work ethic. I know exactly he comes in shape, he trains hard, and it's almost motivated me even more too. Just knowing on the other end that the guy I'm fighting is doing all these same things. You know, like I have to have all my ducks in the line. You know, and I've done that. That's why I've had the best camp. I think because of the opponent I've been able to put together the best camp, be in the best shape possible. So yeah, I mean, I almost thank him for that. Like I'm coming prepared, you know, and it's just me having the respect for him has allowed me to work that hard and that much harder and that much more discipline.
How do you see the matchup going on Saturday night? Where do you see the biggest strengths and weaknesses? Where do you believe you're going to get the better in this matchup?
That's hard to say, you know, just because you never really know until you get in there. There's a lot of question marks on Aaron too. You know, he's been able to out wrestle everybody, take everybody down. I don't think I've seen a shot stuffed yet. He hasn't been on his back. So there's still, like, in 13 fights, there's a lot of question marks. As far as weaknesses, I think his aggression, obviously that's a strength, but it also plays a big weakness as well. You know, he's so used to being so aggressive and having the fight always go his way that I think if I can change that, you know, and give him some resistance and adversity, that we can see a whole different style of fight, pace of fight, I guess that you can say. You know, you can't really rush in on somebody when counters are available, your own takedowns are available. So I think, yeah, it's hard to say where this fight's going to go, just because I think it can go everywhere. We can dictate this fight. We're both good grapplers, both good strikers, and high level guys with good conditioning. You know, so it's not like we're going to be afraid to grapple because we don't want to get tired or whatnot. You know, it's going to be balls to the wall. You know, for 15 minutes, I'm expecting to go red line.
When this matchup was first announced, I'll be honest, everyone jumped at it because it's such an intriguing matchup. It is really it's a game of chess, really. But like we mentioned a moment ago, Pico has now won 6 in a row and is undefeated since 2019. If you are going to get your hand raised on Saturday night, do you believe this is the statement that takes you within touching distance of the gold?
Oh yeah, I think this is 100% a title eliminator. I mean, that's how it was proposed to me. That's how it was, you know, offered to me, was that, you know, it's number one contender fight. You're on the same card as the title fights 2 fights after. I think a win over Pico is the biggest statement any of the other featherweights can have right now, and I think that'll hold the most weight in the division with all the other fights going on. So I mean, I can't look that far ahead. That's going to be one of those things Sunday morning I wake up and I'm excited about. But for right now, from now till Saturday night, I can only think of the task at hand, because that is, to me, the toughest test. I think Pico's tougher than the title fight will be. So he's got my full attention, and I get through him. And like I said, I think he's a tougher matchup than both guys fighting for the belt.
So if and when you do get the victory on October 1st, Saturday night, do you have any idea of when you look to turn around? Obviously, like you said, it is a title eliminator, and it is a big night in your division with the gold up for grabs. If everything goes to plan, do you have an idea of when you'd like to come back? Because obviously you've had a year off already.
Yeah, I just want consistency. Honestly, I think before the end of the year is a little bit of a stretch. I mean, those cards are all kind of booked up. December in Connecticut would be cool, but I don't think that's very realistic. Something early January, February. So they're going back. They've already announced a February card in Dublin, and Europe's always been cool. I would love to fight out there, but like I said, that's a little farther down the line. I can't really think too much about that right now. Again, that's a Sunday thought. That's afterwards, after the fight's done, I can kind of see. But the only thing I know is that I would like to do it ASAP. get the ball rolling. I don't want to sit for too long.
So obviously Bellator have sold this as a title eliminator. If the main event does go not as planned for you, would you maybe take a matchup elsewhere with someone else just to fill that gap? Or if you do win, are you looking straight to just take the belt and wait on the sidelines as long as maybe you need to?
No, yeah, no, I think that title fight will be there, but I'm definitely looking at activity over that. That would be the first choice, of course. But again, like there's a lot of conversations that would have to be had with my management and my wife and my team and everybody. But there's still opponents, there's the division is great. Bellator's featherweight division is awesome. You got Pedro Carvalho, who just had a big win. That's a fight that's had a storyline for a couple of years now, since I've been in the promotion. Wanted to get my hands on that guy. But I mean, if he's around and it makes sense, that would be perfect. But like I said, I got Pico and my hands are full right now. So that's a Sunday conversation.
Another Sunday conversation. I mean,
Lots of
yeah, I mean, you've got a busy Sunday morning by the sounds of it, I'll be honest.
yeah.
But obviously everything's looking up at the moment. It's such a stacked division and the future is bright. But let's now go back a few years. You've obviously been around the game for quite some time now, and despite still being very young in the game, you fought some of the toughest competition any promotion has to offer. For example, in 2018, you fought the current featherweight king in the UFC and pound for pound best in Alexander Volkanovski. And if a night like that doesn't get any harder, you fought him in his backyard. How much of a learning curve was that night? Or maybe morning it was, I believe. How much of a learning curve was that for you?
Yeah, like that's a hard one. A lot of people like to point that fight out, but that is there's a lot of things that happened on my end, like behind scenes, that wasn't ideal, and weight cutting and fighting local time out there, the travel, the jet lag. And I mean, I'm not a complainer. There's no point of bringing all that up. That was so long ago. But that's still one of those fights that I wish I got to just perform more better. I don't know how it would have went or what, but yeah, that fight that wasn't really me. But it was still that showed me that I can go through the absolute worst adversity, fly literally across the other side of the world, fight at 9 a.m. against a stud like Volkanovski, and that it was more of a wake up call. I moved from Canada to Las Vegas full time to a bigger gym, Xtreme Couture. Was able to do all that after that loss because that's what I needed, and that's what it was a realization kind of thing is. You gotta, if you're gonna fight these upper echelon guys, now you gotta step up and be it upper echelon in all aspects of my fight camp.
Just how important are those experiences for you though, coming into nights like Saturday?
Again, just knowing that I've been in there with, I'm not going to see anything different. I've been in there with the best in the world, and nothing changes. I mean, it's just another fight for me. Every fight is the biggest fight. Every next fight is the biggest fight, so he's got his biggest challenge, and I still look at him as one of the biggest challenges. So it's experience does play a factor in it, but he's been, like you said, he's debuted in Bellator, he's been under the bright lights for a long time. So I think it's more skill versus skill on this one. I mean, I don't think youth has a thing. We're both young guys. We're both experienced guys. We're both dangerous. So I don't think there's anything other than just skill for skill and grit for grit on this one.
You briefly just mentioned your gym, and you are training at one of the best gyms in the world and under one of the best minds in the world in Eric Niksic as well. Just how important are the guys at Xtreme Couture for you?
Oh, it's huge, man. It's Las Vegas in general. Xtreme is like my home, but Las Vegas has a lot of good resources and a lot of good guys always coming through, always, with the BFC Performance Institute, you have so many different bodies from different parts of the world, different countries, different camps across the states. Everyone's coming through. And so you're constantly evolving and changing and trying out and testing yourself with new guys. And it's not hard to find bodies. Everybody here, it's not like they work a 9 to 5 and you got to drive. When I was back in Canada, I'm driving across different cities. I'm hours on the road commuting, where here everything's like really close and congested, and everyone's on the same mindset. Everyone's training every day. They're all full-time fighters. So it's really not hard to find good practices and have world-class coaches to run them. And literally, it's just where I got to be.
So I actually had the chance to speak with Eric Niksic just before the Ngannou and Gane title fight. And even though it was about a 20-minute conversation, you could see just how in love with the game he was and how knowledgeable he is as a coach. Do you ever listen to him talking and just think, wow, I'm being taught by the best here?
Yeah, man. He's he was the first guy that I pretty much clung to as soon as I got here 5 years ago. Walked into Xtreme and saw him, and we started hitting, and we just clicked right away. Very good, like-minded, and it wasn't forced, or I wasn't anything. We flowed perfectly, and then since then, I think the first fight I had was in Morocco, so under Brave. So he flew across the country with me after knowing me for a few months, and it's just been history since then. He's my brother. He's my guy. So he's a comfortability that when he's in the corner, I feel good. And he knows what to say. He knows how to say it. He knows me so well. I'm a weirdo, man. I'm a very, very particular in my ways, and he's really good with me.
He is one of the best and most knowledgeable in the game, I'll be honest. I was actually mind blown listening to him talk. I was literally getting lost in his words at one stage. But on to the next. This is one question I love to ask every fighter I talk to. What is one thing that the sport of mixed martial arts has taught you over your years?
Discipline, man. It's hard, I guess. Just professionalism and discipline. It's one of those things that guys who have 9-to-5 jobs or any other type of job where they have a boss, they have to be accountable, and they can't just not show up. Where me, technically, I could wake up and be like, I'm not going to go to the gym today, but in 2 months, in a month, in 3 weeks, it'll show, and it'll show in front of a lot of people, and it'll show in an aggressive manner. So I have to be accountable for myself and my own discipline, and make sure I'm putting the work in, because nobody's just going to make me. Nobody's going to, hold my hand. So you have to do it all on your own. Or not all on your own, but you have to have this certain level of discipline to be able to make it at the top of this sport. And I think that's one of the biggest things that has shown me.
That's a brilliant answer. You've hit the nail on the head already. A bit of a fun one now. If you could pick one fighter, past or present, anyone, it might even be Aaron Pico himself, or a dream location, who is your dream matchup, and where is the dream location for that matchup?
Oh man, that's tough. Location wise, I've always wanted to fight in Saitama Arena in Japan. As far as an opponent, I would have loved BJ Penn. He was still in the UFC when I was over there, which was cool. BJ Penn was one I've always watched. He was my favorite growing up. But yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one for an opponent. Definitely a legend somewhere, but definitely in Japan. That would be I don't have an answer for you for who. Sorry.
I mean, Japan's a very popular answer. I spoke to someone else, Samiko Inabe, who's on the Bellator 286 yesterday, and she gave the exact same answer of Japan. What is it that kind of attracts you to fighting in Japan? Is there anything specific?
Yeah, the history of it, with Pride back in the day. That's when I got into it. And the crowd's a lot different. It's different than that US feel. So, I mean, it's hard though watching these Bellator Dublin cards. The Irish are wild. So that's a hard one. And now it's slowly changing. But Japan to me has always been just a unique experience. I think would be very cool. Like a Ryzen fight in Japan is, that's cool.
Did you watch the Bellator fight in Dublin the other night?
I did.
Incredible atmosphere, wasn't it? Did you see the walkout for Peter Quayle?
Yeah, if he comes out, it was zombie every time. That's the best. Yeah.
Dude, honestly, it was amazing. The Irish fans, I say it every single day, they are the best in the world. If you ever get the chance to fight there, be over there. And the Combat Sports UK guys and ladies will be on the next flights out, and we'll be supporting you. Don't worry. But where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years' time?
It's tough, man. I'm just taking it fight by fight, and Bellator's my home. I want to be here for a while. I have a few more years fighting, at least 5. You know, 5. I don't know about 10. 10. Hopefully, I'm retired with the belt and chilling with a MMA gym to my name and relaxed, right off in the sunset, and not cutting weight anymore.
Maybe you'll be sat alongside Eric Niksic in a corner.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe there. Exactly.
That would be a deadly duo. But finally, for those out there listening now who maybe haven't seen you fight before, what should they expect when you step into the cage on Saturday night?
Just aggression this time. Oh man, it's been a long time. I've been away from the cage. I've got a lot of improvements that I can't wait to showcase. And yeah, this is a fight that he's going to bring the fight, and you got to fight fire with fire. So just expect a banger.
What an answer. What a way to sell the fight. I mean, it's on a stat card anyway. You didn't really need to sell the fight anymore, but you have. But those are all the questions I have for you. Thank you very much, Jeremy. If you want to go watch him, he takes place on Saturday night against Aaron Pico at Bellator 286. Thank you very much for joining me, and good luck on Saturday.